Men need a lot of nurturing. They need a huge amount of nurturing. For some reason, women don't need it as much. But there is an overlap with a male that hasn't been nurtured enough and wasn't breastfed enough, where they will turn to the bottle. It's the drinking thing, the dummy thing, the pacifying thing, the drinking from the beer bottle thing. It's all one and the same, and it all comes from the same unnurtured, unsupported, sad and lonely mindset, drinking. There is a tendency for alcohol abuse to be a male thing, although sometimes when a woman has had to become a man and become aggressive and become hardened by life, they will choose alcohol abuse too. But mostly for women, they will choose to have an opioid, and it's the same with murder. Women will always rather poison their partner than stab them. We're zeroing in on the alcoholism thing because it is so prevalent and it is so easily accessible and it is so socially acceptable and so easily misused. And alcohol is used so frequently to self-abuse. So alcohol is a good place to be. It starts off when you're young and it's the thing to do. You can say the same for smoking. You get a group of people that aren't jocks, that aren't academic, and they end up feeling lost and confused and rejected and abandoned by society, and they find themselves in the company of other kids that are in the same position, that aren't getting the support or acknowledgement for their strengths when they were growing up, in terms of finding out what it is that they would make them feel strong, viable, valuable people that have something positive to contribute towards society. And those kids often are the ones in the outskirts that turn to the smoking and the drinking, because in the beginning, alcohol is a lot of fun. It makes you laugh. You get back to being 4 years old. Nobody cares what you do. You fall all over the show. It's a huge joke. And in the morning, you have a bit of a hangover, but you're young. You bounce back quickly. You're back to having a good day the following day. You may even actually go and do something like work or half-assed study. But alcohol isn't really all that destructive when you're young. But it's a habit-forming narcotic nonetheless. So what happens is, as we get older, my experience is that specifically for men and the camaraderie, because they don't talk about emotions and they can't really connect with their peer group and they're feeling abandoned emotionally from their childhood environment, so they're getting absolutely no emotional support from anywhere. But there's always the bottle that makes them feel better. But eventually, as they get older, the bottle stops making them feel better. In fact, they've now recently discovered that there's a certain chemical that your body starts producing as soon as you stop drinking during the night. If you run out of alcohol at 10 o'clock at night, your body starts going into hangover. It starts producing huge amounts of a very destructive chemical that goes through your liver to process huge amounts of alcohol, and this is incredibly bad for the brain. It makes you aggressive. This particular fight or flight chemical that is now trying to save your life because of the amount of poison you've put into your body. And that's where aggression starts. And unfortunately, again, for a man, this is not a good place to be. So what happens is that aggression destroys any kind of good relationship they could have with their partners or their family. And ultimately, if you go to any pub anywhere in the world, you will find 60, 70, and if they can still walk, 80-year-old men in the same pub they've been going to for the last 20 years, because they know the waitress, they know the food, it's familiar. And that is their home away from home, where they get to be around people who they will really never know because they have lost the ability to connect emotionally many moons back thanks to alcohol, and the fear of not being accepted has driven them to drink more and more and more.